Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and today we're driving one of my dream cars, the Ferrari FF. So that's front engine, V12, all-wheel drive. It is the fastest four-seater in the world, or at least when it came out. And I've never driven one, so I'm so excited. This is one of my dream cars. As you know, I had a Z3M Coupe, a BMW clown shoe. To me, this has always been the Ferrari clown shoe. Now, you can take 4 people in this car. It's got a pretty decent back seat, which we'll go over in a minute. Ceramic brakes, naturally aspirated V12. So 6.3 liter V12, which we'll look at it in a second. And I'll go over the horsepower and torque figures. So beautiful interior. I like the color on this car. All Ferraris should be red. Beautiful interior with all the controls. We'll go over the steering wheel in a second. We have 2 keys here. Special thanks to DCH Acura for providing the car in Verona, New Jersey. So we have both keys, the Ferrari keys here. We have unlock, lock, and opening the trunk button. We also have the gas, which I'm sure you'll need a lot with a V12, and opening the trunk here. But the reason you want this car, forget the 4 seats in the all-wheel drive. The reason I want this car, and we'll do the engine latch here, is that engine. No turbos here. This car was only built for 5 model years, 2012 to 2016. It shares some parts of this V12 engine with the Enzo. You have the 2 air boxes here, V12, 6.3 liters. I was thinking Viper for a second. And gorgeous, gorgeous engine. So this qualifies, I think, as a front mid-engine. So here is the front axle. So you should see the entire engine, not the air boxes, but the entire engine is behind it. So this is a front mid-engine car. 651 horsepower, 504 foot-pounds of torque. Only made it to a dual clutch transmission. That engine, like, this is the car you bring in Cars and Coffee and show everybody that engine. This is the reason you bought it. So let's use the key and look at the trunk. For a hockey player like me, this is the perfect car, and I think you'll agree. If you don't play hockey, maybe you play golf or something, I would assume I could definitely fit my hockey bag in here for sure, and I would assume you could probably fit 2 sets of golf clubs as well. So let's take a look at the back seat. It's a very practical car. Ferrari made this car, so maybe you had an F458 and F430 as your fun weekend car. This would be your daily driver. You got a home in Aspen, you got a home in Switzerland. This is what you would drive to the ski slopes and take your kids with you. Now I'm 6 feet tall, 180 pounds. I don't know if I'm going to fit there, but watch this. So when we access the back seat, it automatically slides the seat forward. Now I could definitely get in. I don't know about leg room. You probably want kids who are 12 and under, 12 and under to sit back here. I'm not going to fold that seat up. Ooh. But it's actually pretty comfy, and except for my size 13 feet, if you had smaller feet, I could probably fit back here. You have the whole roof here is glass and it's tinted. So it gives you, even though it obviously less headroom because it has to sink down for that sunroof, it does give you a more airy feeling down here. All right, so you even have air conditioning controls down here. So pretty cool, and actually a good view at the back, not too bad at all. All right, so I'm not gonna let this close on me because I'll never get out. I played hockey last night, so I can barely move. All right, so now we'll have this go back so I can sit in the front, and let's go over the rest of the car before we take it out for a spin. Love this steering wheel here. This is just amazing. I love how it says FF, so they know you bought the expensive one. Now here, unlike the F430 we just drove, you don't put the key. Actually, you do put the key in and still press the engine start button. So it's the same way. All your controls here, you have your shocks, your lights, signal left and right. So it either will be canceled from the turn or you press it again. So you don't do left and cancel right. You hit left again to cancel it. Now here you don't have a race mode. Essentially race mode, I guess, would be ESC off. You have sport. You have comfort, and then you have wet, and then you have the ice and snow mode. You have all your HVAC controls there, front and center. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start the car just because it's really hot in here so we get the air conditioning going. Let's listen to that V12 fire up. All right, turn the key to get the accessories on, press that engine start. Oh my, oh my. All right, so we'll get the air conditioning. Okay, so we'll just shed off the parking brake there. Parking brake is to the side. The window controls are actually here if we want to have the window. Remember, this car has tinted windows, but the tint's not too bad. You can easily see, no problem. I love your vent controls are right here. So you go into reverse. You press R to get into reverse. And that gives you the backup camera. Unlike the F430, we didn't have a backup camera. It's beeping because we're in reverse. So now to put it in drive, we're going to press auto, and then we press the right paddle, just like the old Ferraris, to get in first gear. Now, if we want to drive in automatic mode, it says auto right under that one. If we press it again, now we are in manual mode and have to shift for ourselves. The red line's 8,000 RPM. We have ceramic brakes on this car. We actually got a full tank of gas. Tim, you're spoiling me. 2 cars in a row with a full tank of gas. All right, so let's drive the car. What are we waiting for? All right, so we're going to drive it in manual mode, sport. Checking our mirrors, our mirror control is in a normal spot. You got nice pedals down there. All right, so let's see. Let's put this torque to good use. This was always my dream Ferrari because it was one of the cheapest Ferraris, and I thought it was affordable, and you can't go wrong with a V12. I could take this signal off. But now they're quite collectible. And again, they only made them for, sounds good, for 5 model years. It's a heavier car, 4150, I think is the weight. So it's not as nimble as, say, an F430 or one of those cars. They're probably about 3,200 pounds, so significantly heavier. But remember, you have all-wheel drive, and the all-wheel drive uses multi-plate clutches, and there's torque vectoring going on, so it's actually weighs the least of any all-wheel drive system. Now we're going to have the shocks and comfort just because New Jersey roads are incredibly bumpy. This car definitely pulls. You can feel the torque from that V12. You're not really getting a low down punch because it is not turbocharged. So if you're used to turbocharged cars, you may be a little disappointed. You really got to get the revs going in this car to get all that power. So we'll downshift to second here. We're in sport mode, so it does the downshifts. I'll call them a little more visceral. Now there it kept us in the second. I guess it won't put you in first unless you're totally stopped. Now, if you look in the rearview mirror, like mid-engine Ferraris, you don't actually see the engine. You can see your kids in the back seat. All right, so immediately you get some pull. We'll go up to some curvy roads up here where we'll test the handling, weight, and acceleration. This has always been like my dream Ferrari. I think my dream Ferrari was Rob Ferretti's 488 Spider, and I've driven a couple 488 Spiders on the channel. They're still like 380, 400,000. So I kind of changed my dream to this, because you can take the kids with you, your significant other, and have a great time. Excuse to drive the car if you could bring people with you, right? So we're gonna stay in second gear here. The engine's nice and warm. We get some shift light buttons coming up. Ceramic brakes really bite. I just touch it a little bit and I feel like my head would go through the roof here. All right, they'll give it a little bit of acceleration here. And the gearbox, just amazing how good it is. Wow. Now here's a good place to test the weight. You know, the faster you drive this car, the more it hides that weight. All right, because those turns were so much fun, we're gonna do them one more time. We got this little Lexus slowing us up, so I'm gonna give a little bunker here, where he's gonna keep us slow the whole time. This is why you have to do the turns more than once. All right, so far, you know, you feel the weight, 4,100 pounds, I believe is the weight. I wanna do a little acceleration here. So you do have an 8,000 RPM red line. The shift lights come as you approach that red line. The V12 just has gobs and gobs of torque. 651 horsepower, 504 foot-pounds of torque from a 6.3 liter V12. Now, I've been on a V10 kick lately with the R8 that I bought, but believe me, if I had the money, I'd be on a V12 kick, and a V12 Ferrari would be very, very high on my list. This is sort of a dream car for me. All right, we'll finally get this guy out of our way. You have so much torque. I mean, you can leave this car in probably fourth gear and be fine. I'm doing it in second for you guys. This engine just pulls. All right, so now I've been driving in an auto mode, and At 30 miles an hour, it had us in 5th gear, obviously to save gas mileage. Gas mileage is not going to be great for this car. So what are my thoughts, and would I buy it over a 458 or 488? I love this car. I see it more as a daily driver. So to me, it's a Panamera competitor, maybe even a Panamera Gran Turismo competitor. Certainly not a Taycan competitor, but it's very smooth, it's fun to drive, it's fast, very comfortable. The interior here is absolutely gorgeous. Let's go back into manual mode. And I think you should own this car, just like, so I say for Porsches, if you want to own a Panamera or a Cayenne, you should have a 911 Boxster Cayman first. So have the sports car experience, and then you like it so much that you get the, you know, the all everyday driver experience. I don't think you should have a Cayenne and have no other, say, 911 Cayman Boxster in your garage. So I love this car, but I feel that you really need to experience one of the nimble Ferraris, and I can't afford a 458 or 488, probably never will. This car is probably more affordable than those cars by far in today's market, certainly. But remember, this car was $350,000 brand new, so as an investment, I think it's going to be a good investment. Though they depreciated a lot back in the day when they were new, that first year depreciation was like 100 grand. Because they have so many things going for it, all-wheel drive, a 4-seater, a naturally aspirated V12, shared parts with an Enzo, engine parts, that I think this will exceed that 350 one day. When? It may take 10 years, it may take 20 years, but I don't think you could buy one of these cars and lose money. So I would buy it from an investment perspective. If I was looking for like a weekend car, though, Cars and Coffee with the V12 and just being the clown shoe, I think it would certainly attract a lot of attention at Cars and Coffee, especially in a color like this, in red. If I was going to buy it as, say, a Sunday morning, like I do Sunday morning drives, it probably wouldn't be the best car for it. It's more, to me, of a highway car or an everyday car. So for that reason, I would probably take an F430 or 360 or something like that I could drive every day, even a 308, 355 if I can afford the maintenance. But this is a fantastic car. I'm so thrilled I got to drive this. Special thanks to Tim at DCH Acura in Verona, New Jersey for providing the car. You guys, you watch this far, you should be a subscriber. Hit that notification bell. I do 2 to 3 videos a week, and you'll miss that third video unless you hit the notification bell. Like and share this video so our channel can grow, and always leave a comment below and comment what car you want me to review next. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.
I won't break through.